What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin.
And we have yet another album review for you, or rather an EP review. We are actually going over something independent too, so we're kind of digging into the underground here, but this is Ohio Underground, and we definitely wanted to check this one out because we've gone over this band before. So we're going to go over the latest EP from Axioma, Primal Descent. This actually comes out on the 3rd of November, but we got it early because we know these guys, we saw them at a show, we got the album, they even sent it to us. We're big fans, and yeah, we definitely wanted to go over this one after we went over their last album, Sepsis, which was a year-ender for both of us.
Yeah, that album ruled.
This band formed in 2015 in Cleveland, Ohio. This is their second EP overall, and first one with new drummer Nick Amato. He joined the band last year, and this band is, I guess, all right, at least according to the archives, they call it post-black metal, which I think is kind of accurate. It's still got elements of black metal and post metal. I would even say death metal too. This is just dark, oppressive, bleak as hell. This band also features Aaron Dallison, who has been in the Cleveland scene for years. He's a former member of Keelhaul and Ringworm. Both bands I absolutely love, both staples in terms of Cleveland's heavy music. And since 2015, he's sort of embraced like an even darker, more dingy side with this band. I actually saw them for the first time open up for Amorphous at the Agora in Cleveland. I was absolutely blown away. Like, it kind of reminded me of Neurosis a lot. And I'm a big Neurosis fan. And then I introduced Jammin John to him.
Yep. And I fell in love immediately. Again, big Neurosis vibes, but heavier and darker in their own sort of way. And then, of course, they played a show on a Thralls of Metal showcase for us with Narcotic Wasteland, and that was sweet. And then we went and saw them for the Halloween show that their guitarist Justin Myers threw just a couple days ago, and picked up the EP. And yeah, I mean, whoop ass. These guys are incredible live.
Oh, absolutely. They won me over live. I love it when bands win me over live. Like, I haven't even heard a track by them, but their live performance absolutely just crushes it so bad you have to go pick up an album. And this one, well, I knew I was going to immediately pick up because I was already a fan of them. But this kind of continues on from Sepsis, which is just dark, brooding, sinister. Honestly, that album sounds flat out evil at times. But this one, in terms of the overall vibe of it, kind of feels a little bit more desperate, more anguish. Like they went from the torturers to the tortured on this one. The opening track, Primal Descent, mixes in some like really good Morbid Angel style tremolos, like a little bit more death metal to it, but as the song keeps going, you hear these big sludgy riffs, lots of dissonant atmosphere, pummeling drums, and then you have Aaron's token vocals, which are just agonized as hell.
Yeah, just when I thought this band couldn't get any heavier, Primal Descent has some great groove to it. Lots of blast beats, lots of double time, double kick, lots of awesome tremolo. I think one of my favorite parts of this band, though, isn't necessarily the, death metal work or even the blackened elements. It's when they break off into these kind of almost funky grooves. Like in the end of Primal Descent, Nick Amato does a great job carrying on the torch from John Vincent from Sepsis. The cymbal work, like it's always got this real cool like ghost noted snare pattern on it, and just kind of a funky groove. But the cymbal work is where they really shine.
Yeah, and just drum patterns in general. Like, you get some really good off-time stuff, some cool tribal patterns. I think Pageantry of Miscreants is probably the one where the band kind of opens up their sound the most. Like, you have these big post-metal builds, like dropping everything down to like one element and then building back upon it into something dark and just eerie and oppressive, because that is the mood on here, the entire thing. There isn't like an ounce of sunlight that kind of breaks through the thick black clouds that hang over this album. And there's a really cool vocal dynamic on Pageantry of Miscreants. There are these blasts that come in when the first verses come in, and each verse sounds like someone desperately pleading with anyone to help them. Like they are just agonized. It sounds like just, I absolutely need help. And then with each kind of like doomy moment that comes after that, it dips back down, and that's just like a sea of no's, like people swatting them aside, like, no, you're on your own. And that vibe really just kind of resonated with me. Like, Sepsis felt evil and dark, and this doesn't necessarily feel as evil, but it definitely feels dark, but it's like a very different kind of darkness. But that song, again, is, I think, the most dynamic. It has some really cool moments where it just dips down to one thing. There's a section where Aaron's bass is isolated. It's kind of fuzzy and kind of strummed. And when it comes back, it's building up like a post-metal song. You get layer upon layer. And then it kind of gets into this almost like stoner doom riff where it feels a little bit warmer and fuzzier before it gets back to the just absolutely crushing riffs that pretty much cap off that song.
And then if you want to talk about black and cold melodies, Inspector of the Code, while you still get the dirty, nasty Neurosis vibes, you get a lot of black and cold melodies and a lot of that post-metal feel. Like right after those cold melodies, I got like Cult of Luna or Cave-In vibes.
Yeah, that syncopated breakdown groove that is in there like repeats. Like they kind of keep coming back to it. It's like a good anchor point for the song. I absolutely love it. It's, you know, still stuck in my head, and I've had this for a while, and I got a chance to listen to it. And honestly, it's one of my favorite songs on it. The riffs are a little bit more savage and chuggy, and then you have these cool off-time patterns on there. And again, the drum work I think is absolutely fantastic. Just how like everything is accented really well, but the guitar work I think is what really supplies a lot of the atmosphere. Cyril and Justin play well off of each other. They both like to layer the melodies. Like one will start off with a creepy distant melody and then you get like a good lead on top of that, or kind of lead. You know, leads are not really the big thing in here. This is all about like generating atmosphere and then beating you over the head with just absolutely savage riffs.
Riffs so savage, in fact, that when we saw him last weekend at No Class in Cleveland, Cyril blew his amp on the very first song.
Oh, was it the first song or the second song?
I think it was the first song.
Either way, he blew his amp.
Maybe the second song, yeah. One of the two, but yeah. He goes to strum something, he's like, hold on, and blew his amp. Now, luckily, one of the other bands there loaned him an amp. In fact, it was Fistula's.
Yeah.
Fistula's amp, which was not a guitar amp, but a bass amp, so 800 watts of fucking bleh.
Oh, dude, I mean, it did get notably thicker and heavier after that, but I mean, I was definitely bummed for him because that did not look like a cheap fix.
No.
And that savagery is definitely on display on the last track, Fellowship of Serpents, which honestly, I think that's where most of the black metal comes out. The tremolos are at their coldest on here. Like you could almost get frostbite listening to this. But I like how it switches off like back and forth. Like you get some more like post-metal drones. You get like a big Morbid Angel-esque death metal tremolo to kind of balance out the black metal. And on top of that, you have Aaron's just agonized fucking vocals. Like there are points where it sounds like there's bits of throat meat coming out with it. And that song I think is like notably more aggressive. Like I feel like there's more blast beats on it, and it closes on just an absolutely disgusting sort of like twisting, churning riff and kind of fades out on it.
With this really cool tribal drum groove.
Oh, dude.
One of the coolest tribal drum grooves, and there's quite a few of them on this 4-song EP, but yeah, that one most specifically is still stuck in my head right at this moment.
Yeah, and the drums sound so damn good on here. And, well, I mean, we haven't really talked about the production much. This was actually produced by the band. And for the most part, I think they did a solid job. If I was going to complain about one thing, I feel like the guitars are a little bit compressed.
Slightly.
But, I mean, everything is separated well. The layers in it sound really good. It just, I feel like it needs maybe a bit of the live feel, because that's where this band, I think, really just shines completely. Like, I think they're great on CD or, you know, LP or whatever you're listening to it on. You should be listening to it. That's the main point. But going to see them live, it is earth-shatteringly heavy. Like, it is amazing. And I don't think this quite captures that, but at the same time, I still think it does a really good job.
Yeah, these guys live, the first time I had seen them actually was when they played for our thing, and that was still one of my favorite performances of the night. The wall of sound that these guys create is nuts, and it works so well. It flows so nicely live. It's just like this droning, eerie, dark, cavernous piece of work, and I fucking really dig it live. And on the EP, which you should listen to.
But yeah, overall, I dig this, and I kind of knew I would. I just like this band's sound, and I think they blend elements really well, and man, do they know how to just like get a hold of the darkest vibe possible and milk it for every awesome riff they possibly can. So overall, I'm going to give this 4 stars. I think this is an absolutely badass EP. The artwork is absolutely killer, which is a shout out to Justin, the guitarist. He did that cover, and it is just creepier than hell.
Mm-hmm. In fact, he does really great art anyway.
Yeah. I like that all 4 songs are very different. The drum patterns are absolutely fantastic. Like, this has, like, such a cool groove before it kind of breaks into, like, blast beats. Like, this isn't just a blast beat fest. There's a lot of, like, almost kind of Meshuggah-esque drum patterns that I really dug. And even some Meshuggah-esque guitar work, too. But the big thing I got was, like, that sort of, like, neurosis level of post-metal and just bleak, empty, just darkness. And man, this band knows how to capture that. If you're a fan of, just really dark, heavy shit. I mean, honestly, like Neurosis is a big one, but I mean, definitely like Morbid Angel too. It's kind of really hard to describe. I'm just gonna go ahead and say, check this out. And yeah, that's about it. This is just a monstrous EP.
I'm with Nick on all of that. It's a 4 for me as well. Again, I kind of knew it would be anyway, just because I'm such a big fan of the band anyway, and everything I've ever heard from them sounds killer. Plus, I was a fan of Keelhaul back in the day too, so I mean, I kind of knew where this was going, but in talking to the band prior to actually hearing this, to see how hyped they were about it, it added even a little bit more for me. And then, yeah, you get these songs, and all 4 of them, each one being uniquely different. It all brings something sort of different to the table every time. And the riffs, again, cold, icy, black, bleak, open, atmospheric, dissonant, all the things I love about black, cold, icy riffs. And then the drum work is killer. It always has been with this band, but the drums just bring something unique to the table. Albeit it might be slightly compressed on the guitar, it's just a smidge. I don't think that knocks it for me. Like I said earlier, as if I didn't think this band could get any heavier, they go ahead and release this. Yeah, if you're fans of Neurosis or Meshuggah or Morbid Angel or Cult of Luna or Cave In or really just pretty much anything dark and dismal and bleak yet airy that you can think of, you're probably going to dig this. I would definitely recommend checking it out. For an independent release, fucking good job, gentlemen.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below to thrallsmetal.com. Our Patreon link is there. It is also on our channel, but thrallsmetal.com is where you go to find Thralls Metal stuff, like t-shirts. We have new ones. We have old ones that are discounted. We have hats right now. So if you're looking for any of that stuff, that is exactly where to find it.
And thank you guys for continuing to tune in and watch and listen to us talk. And it really doesn't make any sense to me, because I know us. But yeah, you guys make this more than a channel for us. You make it like a family. It's such a great experience to be involved in Thralls of Metal, and it's because of you guys. We couldn't do this without you. I mean, we could, but it would be boring as fuck.
Yeah, you guys all rule. Thank you so much. Plenty of content coming in the future, so stay tuned for that. And with that, I will thank you one more time, because he's already thanked you enough, and I need to pepper in just one more in there.
Thank you.
And we will catch you later.